rolling?
John.
Is it good?
Yeah, we're good. Don't. Oh, the breathing.
As one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, John Krasinski has money flowing in from every direction. With a net worth well into the multi-millions, John's not afraid to splash his cash either. From exotic mansions to seemingly endless travel around the world, a few fancy cars, and a beautiful destination wedding to his one and only, he's racked up a rather extensive expenditure sheet over the years. Where did all this money come from? How much did he make on The Office? Let's dive into the world of this cheeky paper salesman and find out.
Question: what kind of bear is best?
Before we analyze John's credit card statement, let's take a step back and see how he managed to break into A-list territory in the first place. With 2 decades worth of nearly 50 IMDb acting credits, it might seem like John Krasinski has been around forever, but it wasn't a swift rise to fame by any means. We all know him for his lovable, pranking, romantic, fourth-wall-breaking character of Jim Halpert, but it actually took the beloved actor a while to get off the ground. Before playing Jim, his most prominent roles, which really weren't too prominent at all in the grand scheme of things, were in CSI: Crime Scene Investigation and 2 unconventional films, Dwayne Hopwood and Jarhead. As we all know, it was The Office that proved to be his big break, a role that would bring in paycheck after paycheck. How much were those checks for exactly? Not as much as you would think, actually. At least not at the beginning. For The Office's first 3 seasons, the man behind Big Tuna only got $20,000 per episode. We say only because compared to Steve Carell, who was paid around $87,500 per episode for the first 2 seasons, and $175,000 per episode thereafter, it really wasn't that much. By season 4, however, John Krasinski and Jenna Fisher were bringing in $100,000 per episode. This placed John's seasonal income between $1.9 and $2.9 million, quickly fattening his wallet and paving the way to his modern-day $30+ million net worth. His income wasn't one-dimensional. The money continued to trickle in from other means as well. John showed face in TV commercials for Kodak, New Era, and Carnival Cruise Lines, appeared in print ads for Puma, and did voiceovers for companies like Esurance, Apple, BlackBerry, and Ask.com. Following starring roles in A Quiet Place and Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, among others, his journey to superstardom was capped off with a mention in Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2018. And there's been nothing but positive inroads made in the Krasinski camp ever since. When your wallet's burning a hole in your pocket, what's the first thing you splurge on? For John, it's houses. Luxury, over-the-top, ultra-expensive, making the rest of us jealous houses. His most recent acquisition, with his beautiful wife Emily Blunt, was an entire floor in the Standish Building in Brooklyn Heights, the borough's most celebrity-friendly residence. How much did he fork out? Are you ready for this? $11 million. Damn, son! It wasn't just one apartment. The couple opted to purchase and combine 2 units in order to occupy the entire floor. Besides the obvious luxury, seriously, just take a look at it. They've also got access to a gym, 24-hour concierge, kids' playroom, and, as you can see, unbeatable views of Manhattan. Sure, they spend a lot of time in LA, and they did have a house there, which we'll get to in a second. But for Emily and John, in Emily's words, quote, "We chose not to live in LA because it can be suffocating to always talk about work and the business," end quote. For the couple, New York was a breath of fresh air. Even though the $11 million price tag is enough to make your eyes water, it's still not the most expensive pad in the building. The penthouse, which sold back in September of 2017 for $16,745,000, setting a new record sale in Brooklyn real estate, belongs to none other than fellow actor Matt Damon. This isn't John's first Brooklyn home, but it's certainly the most expensive. Back in 2016, John and Emily dished out another $6 million for a 5,200 square foot townhouse in the Park Slope area, which is right about here. The gray stone townhouse, originally built in 1909, had 7 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and a parlor, outdoor garden, stunning backyard, and a full-on guest suite. However, the A-list couple simply didn't spend enough time there, so they decided to put in $300,000 worth of renovations and then sell it in 2018, less than 3 years after buying. It wouldn't be a list of fancy movie star houses if we didn't include one of John's very own in LA, now would it? We'll check this place out. The 6-bedroom property tucked away in the Hollywood Canyons features a swimming pool, 3 stories, a spacious outdoor patio, and plenty more. See for yourself. John and family snapped up the stunning 4,900 square foot home for $1.86 million in 2009, the year before they married, although they have since sold it for a hefty profit. Speaking of marriage, the pair had an absolutely beautiful and equally expensive one. John's from the States and Emily's from the UK, so a location for a wedding wasn't exactly an obvious decision. In the end, they went for a destination wedding in Italy. And while their select guests loved it, their accountants did not. The venue, none other than George Clooney's illustrious lakeside mansion in Lake Como. Funnily enough, it wasn't John pushing for the exotic destination wedding. It was George Clooney. The Silver Fox had to offer up his lakeside estate 4 times before John and Emily finally agreed. While he wouldn't have needed to pay rental fees, the other costs quickly added up. Flights for not only the bride and groom, but their guests as well, plus catering, music, and decorations, would have easily pushed the special day budget into the tens of thousands of dollars. If you were ever to have a destination wedding, what would your dream location be? Let us know down in the comments. Take a look at John's passport and you'll see far more than an Italy stamp. When you've got money to throw around and a flexible schedule that allows for far more vacations than the average Joe, you're going to be seeing the world. And that's exactly what John Krasinski has been doing for years. Splashing the cash on everything from surfing-filled beach getaways to quiet family vacations. We've seen Jim ride the waves in Kauai with his friend Jimmy Kimmel, chill with Bradley Cooper in Honolulu, head back to Emily's hometown of London time and time again, party it up in Mexico's Cabo San Lucas with a long list of other A-listers, join George and Amal in the floating city of Venice, head out on a boat for a snorkeling experience off the coast of Tuscany, and oh so much more. All up, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Clearly, our favorite sarcastic paper salesman has no qualms racking up the air miles, but as much as he travels for fun and for work, he also travels for love. Flashback to 2018. Emily Blunt was working on Mary Poppins Returns in the UK, and John Krasinski was filming Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan in Canada in 2018. Long distance isn't easy, but with $30 million in spare cash, John made it look like a cakewalk. Making the rest of the world's romantics look second-rate, John flew from Montreal to London and back again every single weekend. That's over 6,000 miles in the air per week. And we all know that intercontinental flying is far from cheap. Adding another string to his entertainment bow, over the last few years, John has also dabbled in producing. A sizable chunk of the money that he's made from his on-camera roles has been reinvested into new projects. Take, for example, A Quiet Place. Give this video a quick like if you've seen the sci-fi horror flick. A Quiet Place turned out to be a massive success, raking in over $300 million at the box office. Co-written, produced, and directed by John himself, the film cost $17 million to make. Seems like he knew what he was doing. On top of that, John has signed checks as an executive producer on the multiple Oscar-winning 2016 film Manchester by the Sea. A lot of this production has fallen under the umbrella of John's very own production company, Sunday Night Productions, which our main man created alongside Allison Seeger back in 2013. They've been responsible for creating the competition series Lip Sync Battle, an epic song-for-song lip-sync showdown that has featured famous names like Zendaya, Channing Tatum, Kaley Cuoco, and Gigi Hadid. And believe it or not, it was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award. The show, which of course is built on the money of its 2 founders, has evolved from a cameo showing on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon to having its very own slot on Spike TV. Not every Sunday Night Productions project is a hit, though. Unfortunately, The Hollers, for example, which came out in 2016, only grossed $1.1 million, a sliver of its $3.8 million budget. Ouch. And while it doesn't share the same $1 million budget as some of his previous projects, during the isolation of 2020, John's been working on something new, something to keep his spirits high. He started a YouTube channel called Some Good News, and it's exactly what you'd think. Krasinski talks about a few heartwarming, positive stories happening around the world, which is exactly what people need while stuck at home. It's not the best or the most expensive vlogging setup we've seen, heck, it's not even using a microphone, but the few bucks he did spend on the low-grade webcam have helped him to spread plenty of joy. His virtual interactions don't stop there. In one of his videos, John announced that he had plans to host an online prom in late April of 2020. Since people were stuck in their homes for the most part, prom events across the nation were canceled. Well, except for the John Krasinski version. Not only did he host the viral event from the comfort of his own multi-million-dollar home, but he was the DJ as well. Check it out for yourself. People attended virtually from all corners of the country, and they weren't afraid to dance the night away. Once again, John shows us that you don't need to spend truckloads to have a good time. When Krasinski isn't locked inside the house, he's out and about, cruising around town in one of his many impressive sets of wheels. First up, we've snapped him behind the wheel of his Mercedes-Benz ML450, which when new has a starting cost of $75,200. As a family man with 2 kids, it's fair to assume that he shares his cars with Emily. So if we merge the 2 together, the garage gets much, much bigger. Together, they've been spotted in a Renault Espace, valued at close to $50,000 when new, an Audi Q5 at just below $44,000, a Range Rover Sport with a base price of nearly $70,000, and of course a Prius, which is far cheaper at about $25,000. Well, that's all for now. What's the first thing that you would do with $30 million? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for checking out The Richest. We'll see you next time.